it's like when I find out you're self-employed and you can't run a business. It's like, I don't know, my sympathy dissolves for you faster than an Alka-Seltzer tablet in COVID.
My wife and I combined, we make about $500,000 to $600,000 a year, but we still somehow are unable to save as much as I believe we should save. So so that's my problem. I mean, our monthly expenses are about $30,000 a month.
Did he just say $30,000 a month, family? $30,000 a month. I wouldn't even know where to spend $30,000. I swear, I heard him say $30,000. Remember, I listened to this for the first time with you guys.
And, then add taxes to that. So we pretty much even out every year. And I believe when we make $500,000 to $600,000 a year, we should be able to save more.
I'm a school teacher. I make barely in the 60s and I save.
I would agree.
I think the $30,000 a month expense is your clue.
I was right. $30,000 a month, family. All right. Now let me tell you something. As a 19th year teacher, I can tell you that for a lot of public service workers, $30,000 is our entire income. Now, for a year. Now, here's the thing. I understand, some people, they make a lot of money. Good for them. More power to them. And $30,000 a month expenditure is fine. I'm sure Oprah Winfrey probably has that. However, when you're calling into the Dave Ramsey show because you can't afford that $30,000, something might be wrong. So yes, they can make a whole lot, but clearly they're having trouble budgeting. So their $30,000 makes them more broke than I am on $63,000.
How much of that is debt payments?
Well, it's on two properties. One is primary residence and one is an investment property.
Why do people have investment properties when you clearly don't have the money to invest?
And the debt payments on the mortgage are add up to about $12,000 a month.
Yeah. Why do you need $18,000 a month to run your household?
Well, about $8,000 to $9,000 go to charity.
$8,000 to $9,000 to charity?
For a good cause. And then the rest, like I would say about $10,000 is for groceries, utilities, for the car payment, and a little bit for, towards...
Why do you have...
Wait, excuse me, Mr. Ramsey. $8,000 to $9,000 a month for charity. I swear I heard that right. Jamie, if you happen to hear this, put in the chat if I'm correct. I think he said $8,000 to $9,000, okay? For those who don't know who Jamie is, she's one of my gal pals on this show, okay? Here's the thing. Have you ever heard that sign that says charity begins at home? All right, he is the charity case. You cannot give $8,000 to $9,000 a month for charity when you're calling into the Ramsey show saying you're broke. And it makes me wonder, who are they trying to impress? I mean, are they writing the check out to somebody that they're trying to impress? Because it doesn't seem logical to me that you would be a charity case yourself. You clearly can't afford it. You're overextended, over leveraged, whatever in your budget.
Of car payments when you make $600,000 a year.
Say that again?
Why would you have a car payment when you make $600,000 a year?
Well, one of the car is paid off, or the other one, it's a lease, so we make about $750 a month for that one.
Why do you make $500,000 a year and even have a car payment? Little teacher here, I did pay off. I made it on time, okay, with an extra 1 or 2 payments, but I did pay off my 2024 with 6 miles on it Toyota Corolla Hybrid that I purchased spring 2024. And it is now paid off. I do have the title, okay. I did that on school teacher budget, saving for about $8,000 to $9,000 of it first. And then I put the rest on payment and I paid it off in 9 months. This dude makes $500,000. And is leasing a car at $750 on top of their $9,000 a month charity on top of their ridiculous housing payment. These are people who just can't say no to anything.
We have a bigger family, 5 people, so it's a relatively bigger SUV.
Well, which you could have written a check and purchased, and should have, instead of leasing and renting your car. for $700 a month. Okay. So,
do you see all the wasted money here? I mean, for those of us who live on very modest incomes, I'm like, this is so much wasted money. Like, this, folks, is how rich people retire broke. Now, we may not say $500,000 is rich, but geez, give it to me, you're rich, okay, compared to my income. But this is how rich people retire broke, and why school teachers are some of the most comfortably retired people. And if you don't believe me, you can look it up, and Ramsey's even discussed it too. Why is it that school teachers and other public service workers even, okay, can potentially retire not wealthy, but we tend to retire solid? Because we've had to learn to live within our means, okay? Forget the fact that we run a classroom, with 140 kids in it. And if we do want to add things, extra things, all right, we have to be careful if it's going to come out of our pocket. I accidentally kicked the table, so I hope you didn't hear that kick or see that camera move. My apologies, all right? So school teachers, some of the most comfortably retired. But dudes like this, pulling in the millions, okay, over his lifetime. Look at what he's making, all right? Can't live on a budget because somewhere or another, what is it that's saying, just because you can make money doesn't mean you know how to keep it. They're two totally different things, and they're two totally different mindsets. And we do have to remember, family, we don't know what the wife is like either. Not blaming her, but I'm just saying, if, before they had money, all right, before they came into money, they had money issues. So to me, sometimes all more money does is just accentuate what you are already like. It's kind of like people who win the lottery. Now, I can't test that theory because I've never won the lottery, but they say that people who win the lottery, oftentimes it just makes you more of what you already are. So these people were already financially out of budget before he got his job that gives him whatever pay, he gets. He was already out of a budget. He and his wife were already out of budget. They just got more of it, so they just got more out of budget.
Yeah. You're giving away $100,000 a year in that $30,000 a month budget. You said
that's why I'm trying to figure out who's he trying to impress.
at $8,000 to $10,000. So there's where $100,000 of it goes, right?
Yeah, easy. Yeah, it could be more than that. 100 to 120. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And
why? Why are you doing that when you clearly can't afford it? I know. I try to wrap my brain around this stuff, and I'm sure some of you out there are trying to figure that out too. I mean, just $100,000 to give away when you don't have the money.
And and you've got a car payment.
Yes.
Which we would not have. And what do you guys do for a living?
I own a business, and my wife works with a company. She makes about $100,000, and the rest is my income. And I own a service-based business.
If you've watched this channel for so much as 5 episodes, you already know how I feel about people who are self-employed for the most part. They can't budget their money worth squat. Not all of them, but most of them. So he owns a business. We should have known. Yeah, okay. This now all makes sense. This makes perfect. Turn off the sound effects. This makes perfect sense to me now. Now look, I know this channel's grown a bit in size, so I can't assume that everybody knows my thoughts on this, but I have pretty strong opinions after having been in 2 relationships with people who were self-employed, and that is a lot of self-employed people don't know squat about money management. They know their business, they know how to conduct the job, but when it comes to being the CFO, what is that, the chief financial officer of the business, they don't know squat, and so oftentimes their business is just operating in the red, and most of the time it seems that these home businesses, self-employed businesses, need someone else to help them. So he's got a wife, I think he said also makes 100,000. This guy don't know squat about money management. So he's self-employed. That now puts everything into perspective for me.
Okay. All right. The way you're discussing this, the language you're using is very general. It's not precise about the numbers, which tells me you're kind of just throwing this over there and then just shocked that it disappeared.
This is what I find a lot of self-employed people doing. I'm not saying everybody, and I'm not even saying it's you, okay? I'm not saying it's you. What I'm saying is my personal experience is this is a lot of self-employed people. And it doesn't matter if they're making in the millions or if it doesn't matter if they're just making a few 100,000. The bottom line is my personal experience with the two people I've been involved in long-term relationships, the calls that we hear here on the wonderful Dave Ramsey show, self-employed people have a really hard time navigating their way around business. They need somebody else to help boost them up. And what would his business be like if he didn't have a woman who brought 100,000 in? Oh, it's like when I find out you're self-employed and you can't run a business. It's like, I don't know, my sympathy dissolves for you faster than an Alka-Seltzer tablet in COVID. I mean, you're making $500,000, dude. You're making $500,000. Yeah, people would be, we would love to make that money. But what is $500,000 if you don't know how to spend it so you can keep it? The guy is broke. He's a broke business guy. And I'm not going to judge, but I am, okay? The way he sounds on the phone, he's like one knife sharpness of a drawer full of silverware. I'm just saying. He don't sound like the sharpest knife in the drawer. That's all I'm saying, okay? Just a little, kind of like he kind of woke up and decided to call into the Dave Ramsey show.
So... if I woke up in your shoes, you've got a level of disgust, says this is not okay, is what you're saying. We make this kind of money. We shouldn't have no money. We shouldn't have a car payment when we make $600,000. We should have just bought the car.
Can you imagine 600,000? I'm sure it's probably gross or something, but still, I mean, a stinking Toyota Corolla is 26,000. What is that on their income? Oh, wait, that's right. For all the money they give to charity, they could have bought 4 Toyota Corollas. Yes, they could have.
Then what I would do is simply do a detailed budget with your spouse.
He can't do a detailed budget, Dave. He hasn't woken up yet.
And come into agreement of what we want to give, what we want to save, and what we want to spend and what we want to spend it on.
Shouldn't they have done that like $500,000 ago? See, if you were already like that, you wouldn't have to call into the show. So somewhere or another, he and his wife have a disconnect. Because if they didn't have that disconnect, there'd be no need to call in, right? The wife thinks the same way about money. He thinks the same way. I'm telling you, family, this has been the way they've had their relationship. So when they got more money, it just accentuated. This conversation is going to be a difficult one with his wife.
And every month before the month begins, every dollar has an assignment exactly. But it kind of feels like, Bill, I went through a period of time in my life where I thought I could out-earn my stupidity, my lack of organization, my lack of detail. And you can't. If you had a person working in your business that was managing a section of your business as poorly as you are managing your finances, you would fire them for incompetence. And so you got to kind of treat it that way from an emotional standpoint and do a detailed budget.
Why is it there's something, and I understand it doesn't matter what income bracket you're in. I think a lot of us make the assumption, at least we do maybe initially, that if you have a lot of money, you make a lot, that you must somehow or another also be really good at budgeting. And what I'm beginning to find after listening to call after call, and I understand we're only hearing the people that are in debt. Okay, we're not getting the people that, it's all sunshine and rainbows. I understand that. But the ones that are in debt, the ones that make these high 6 figures, okay, I'm not talking 120, 150. Okay, but $4, $5, $600,000 a year. I continue to be blown away at how many of them just don't understand money. And I drive by their nice houses or I see their nice cars, and my assumption is, man, you're just living it all up. but in reality, they're absolutely broke. And then that little school teacher in the Toyota Corolla, well, that's the car that's paid off. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Have a great night.